topic of the moment that we've been talking about for weeks is voting. As everybody knows or should know, today is the last day. You have till 8 to turn in ballots. You don't have till the 13th. You want to have your vote counted. You have to get your ballot in today. If you requested an absentee ballot and you didn't get one, you can vote. I know because that happened to me. I requested a ballot. I was in that group on the 22nd and 23rd, and I didn't get one. I voted this morning at the Lapham site, and it was, I can tell you, an easy process to do. So I guess the twin messages are vote and be safe. I was at the site, as I mentioned, and, you've heard me, you've heard the mayor, you've heard a bunch of us thank the election workers from the city, the county, all the municipalities, all the volunteers, the National Guard who's really stepped up. People have gone out of their way to make this process as safe as possible, to help maintain distancing all the way through, to help maintain clean surfaces, avoiding shared surfaces. If you're worried about, well, what if that booth I go in, was occupied by someone who was infected before, they sterilize them in between every voter. They have extra pens. You don't have to use the same pen. And they are doing the best they can with an admittedly very, very tough situation. But I just want to acknowledge the incredible work that's gone into the preparation and will continue all day. And obviously I get to work at the county with our clerk, George Christensen, who's been fantastic. But I know Neil at the city's been incredible as well. Just everybody has really stepped up. No one saw a project like this coming. And frankly, I still think it's incredibly unfortunate that it had to come to this. But you couldn't ask for a better group of people to make things happen. Beyond that, we have talked in the past sometimes about the transit system. And we've been concerned about overcrowding. I have said, and I will say again, the transit system is there for essential rides only, essential rides for people who are essential workers and have to get to their job, for your medical appointment. But it is not there, unfortunately, right now, and I apologize, but it is not there just for, the convenient stuff. We are going to be instituting a 10-person limit. We're going to give some people some time to get used to that. The messaging is going to be rolling out and aggressively tomorrow. But what that means is that if a bus has 10 people on it already, they're going to go by stops until there are less than 10 people. We're not going to have more than 10 people on buses. And I apologize to people who have to wait longer. As we've mentioned before, we have put more buses on the lines and routes where this seems to be happening, so you shouldn't have to wait as long for the next bus, and we're going to work on more of that. But I can't emphasize enough how important this is. Buses are very confined spaces, and this is not a place where crowding shouldn't happen anywhere. It really shouldn't happen on buses. We're maintaining this service because we are trying to get people who need it to get to essential jobs and to their medical appointments. That's why it's there. But nobody has the right to increase anyone else's risk. So again, the 10-person limit will be enforced starting on Thursday. Again, essential rides only, and we're looking at other measures beyond that. So with that, I will turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. And again, thank you for the partnership on this. We very much appreciate it. As the County Executive said, we're basically down to the final 5 hours for voting in this election. I share his sentiment that this should never have occurred in the fashion that it is occurring. It's almost embarrassing where we have been saying for weeks now, stay at home, stay at home, stay at home, stay at home. And now we're in essence saying, well, except for this, where tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people throughout the state of Wisconsin are expecting to leave their homes because of the failure of the legislature to work with the governor on this. But that's where we are. And a couple of points to echo what the county executive said. If you have an absentee ballot, you can still drop it in one of the 5 drop boxes before 8 o'clock. And those drop boxes are located at Washington Park Library, at Mill Road Library, at the Zeidler Building, at Zablocki Library on the south side, and Bayview on the south side. For others, and I'm hoping that people have gotten the information. I know they have not all gotten the information, but there are now these larger areas to vote, these 5 areas. Again, on the south side, it's going to be South Division High School. It's going to be Hamilton High School, Washington High School, Marshall High School, and Riverside High School. And you can check with the Election Commission, or you can check with My Vote to see where you vote if you're confused by that. In addition, if you have an absentee ballot, if it is postmarked today, and as the day goes on, it will be harder and harder to have a postmark today, you can do that, but it would have to be postmarked today. And I'm sorry that it has happened this way. Obviously, this is something that those of us here at the local level could see this coming, and the challenges and the problems. And we tried to tell everyone we could. I'm thankful to the governor, but unfortunately, unlike 11 other states who are able to move their primary to address the public safety concerns as they relate to public health and to promote our democracy, for some reason, and I'm afraid that it's just purely hardball partisan reasons, that did not happen here in the state of Wisconsin. So that's on the election front, but that's not why we're having these daily briefings. We're having these daily briefings because we're in the middle of a pandemic. And even though it's election day, many of us have been working on this, and we continue to work on this around the clock. 2 issues that have been with us from day one that we have spent a lot of time on today. There was a group of hospital representatives and healthcare representatives that met this morning and talked about the issue of testing. We know that this has been an issue throughout this entire pandemic. We know that it's an issue not just locally, but nationally. We know it's an issue that raises issues about equity and about how fairly people are treated. And we have been told by no less than Dr. Fauci at the national level that we can expect more testing later this week. That can't come soon enough, because we also know that those countries that have successfully flattened the curve have done it in part because of a very proactive, aggressive testing regimen. And that is something that we are very interested in, that I am very, very interested, as quickly as we can get there, having our community health centers, having providers, having our hospitals do more testing so that we can do the testing, do the isolation of those individuals that need to be isolated, and do the social tracing so that we can look at their pool. That's going to require more manpower, more people power. We're very thankful to the state, because the state has provided the City of Milwaukee Health Department with individuals to help us with the social tracing, which we need to do, and we know we need to do more of that as the numbers continue to rise. The second issue that's been with us from the beginning, and I actually feel more confident about this issue than I do about the testing issue, is the issue of capacity. And Dr. Weston has been sitting on some of these meetings, and he obviously is the one here, along with Dr. DeMoya, who have developed the modeling that we need to know, or at least to predict, what we will need in terms of beds, in terms of intensive care beds, in terms of ventilators. And there have been ongoing meetings to talk about that, and the work that's being done at State Fair Park to prepare that site, if necessary, if we get the approval from FEMA, which we're very optimistic we'll get. We think that we could get that up and running in the matter of days. The latest projections, and again, Dr. Weston can speak to this, are that we would hit our peak somewhere in the middle of the month. And so our goal is, if we're going to have this alternate care facility, to have it up and capable to take patients by the middle of the month as well. So again, a lot of work that's going on the healthcare front, which I think is of much greater concern to most people who are following this. The economic issues, we'll spend a little time on that later in the week, because those continue to mount, and those are very problematic as well. But right now, again, our eye is on the healthcare issues